got to see my dad on weekends. And we would go to this place called Lake Alice in Gainesville. And it had all these gators. And I remember thinking, like, can we keep one? And my dad would take his camera and take pictures of them so that I could keep one. Like, seeing a photo or a video like really takes me back to a place, and it really makes me feel like, oh, I can't believe that happened, or oh, that was so great. Like, it really helps me identify with that moment. And so that's what I'm hoping to give people. And like, I love looking at pictures of grandparents that I never met, or even strangers that I've never met. Like, if there's like a raw emotion happening in the photo, like, it takes me to this place of humility. Like, I hope I can give that to somebody else. I've said this before, so I don't think it's gonna surprise anyone. I feel like Jax is, and not just Jax, maybe it's the South, to be honest, but it's very traditional. In a way, it's very black and white. I don't see in black and white, I see in color. So to me, sure, I could be in California where everybody sees in color, and I could be in all these places where I would be just like everyone else, but that's kind of boring. Like, I want to be somewhere where people need a change, and I want to be a part of that change, even if they don't know that they need it. But I want to be somebody in an area that's helping people see what they want, you know, and helping people realize, like, oh, you know, like, I never even would have thought that I wanted someone to come to my home and photograph me laying in bed with my family, because that's what we do every Sunday, you know. The biggest thing that set me free in my life is discovering and learning, like, I make the rules. So I completely changed what, honestly, what the American dream was supposed to look like 2 cars and 2 kids. Great schools, great big house, you know, in the best area possible. And I said, no, all that leads to is like more money and more bills and more things to do, and less time with the people that I love. Like, I think that if people could just understand, like, this is my life and I make the rules, I don't have to live by the rules that have been set up for me. There's such a freedom in that. I think that if I had let my husband keep working at this job that wasn't fulfilling, and I had, you know, stayed at home and been a stay-at-home mom and done that for the rest of my life, like, we wouldn't have been fulfilled, and that wasn't good for us. You know, like, I discovered that actually him being at home and teaching our son was better for him. And so we did that, and it was better for me to do a job that I loved and I was passionate about. Like, you know, and hear me out, 4 years at home with my son was amazing, but it was time for me to accept that I was ready to move on. And I'm not a bad human being because I don't want to stay at home with my kid every day and teach him. Like, I want to be at home every day with my kid, but I also want to be doing my job. So I felt and feel like, and I have to constantly remind myself, like, hey, you make the rules. Like, you don't have to do this because the world says that you do. And I feel like if people could kind of walk in that freedom, it would really change the way that they approach their lives. People tell us all the time, like, we love how you do this. Like, how do you do this? Like, how did you, you know, how do you survive on one income? And the answer is, like, we just do. You know what I mean? Like, we just make priorities. I mean, I think everyone just thinks, like, you have to have a bigger house and you have to have 2 cars, and you don't. You know, you have to do all these things because they're expected of you, but you don't. That's my biggest thing, and sometimes I think about making that like my slogan, like, I make the rules.